Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to do my breakdown and review for My Hero Academia, Season 7, Episode 16. There's a lot that we need to break down and review in this episode, so let's just dive right into it and really talk about it. And to start off, the episode title is The Chains Thus Far, and the name takes from Manga chapter 377, and the episode itself covers chapters 375, pages 14 to 15, as well as chapters 376 all the way to chapter 378. And when it comes to how 378 ends, it pretty much mimics what the episode has when it comes to the reveal of the final part of the episode, which is Lady Nagant at the end of the episode, so spoilers for that. But the episode begins in earnest with reused scenes of Toga emerging as Twice from the portals created by Kurogiri, but we see some continuation with those scenes with Uraraka being flung through the portal with Tsuyu. Also, before the opening, we do get some alternating shots of all of the players who will be playing a major role in this battle at Gunga Mountain. But a fun addition to the scene in the anime in comparison to the manga is that they added Toga to these back-to-back sequences, which is not necessarily the case in the manga itself, really just emphasizing how much Toga is going to be playing a major role in this part of the battle. And going on to the next point, we also get to see how the heroes deal with the Twice Toga clone army as they try to save both the villains as well as each other, as we have Uraraka, Jiro, Tsuyu, and Tokoyami reuniting as members of Class 1A. And it's here where we start to notice a lot more still frames within this episode in comparison to the rest of the actual episode, as well as the rest of the series. And we will be seeing a lot more of these still frames within the episode, and I'll talk more about that when we get to see more of the prominence of these still frames. But as we begin the transition to a new location, I want to bring up how well the scene of Endeavor reacting to Dabi is. And before that, we do have All For One trying to escape to Tomura, but is stopped by Hawks in a very cool action sequence. And that he eventually reveals his plan to get Tomura as soon as possible, but Hawks mocks him as we see Endeavor being charged at by Toya. And what makes this scene interesting is the choice to show the manga scene but make an added change when it comes to Endeavor speaking while Toya is charging at him. Because in the anime, we see Toya approaching Endeavor, but we get it from Endeavor's eye, which is pretty good when it comes to the foreshadowing for their confrontation later to come, because what is happening with Toya being in Endeavor's eye is pretty much what Toya always wanted. He wanted his father to look at him, and this scene foreshadows what we're going to potentially get later on, where Toya is finally within the eye and being looked at by Endeavor. Also, wanted to point out the cool animation of the fire wings forming behind Endeavor, pretty much being symbolic of what his look was when he fought against the Hood Nomu, and that the wings on his hero costume at that moment looks very similar to the wings that are appearing out of his back at this moment. But it's from here, we cut to the scene of Kurogiri appearing behind Aizawa and Monoma, and here's where we get to see the quote-unquote slideshow of still images. And while I will say that this scene could have been done better if it was fully animated, there is still a sense of dread that we can see and be felt from the still images, as we are just focusing on the fear and struggle from these images via Aizawa, Monoma, and the rest of the characters reacting to the Twice Toga clones appearing. And this is where we're going to get more into the reappearance of Tomura as the main antagonistic force. However, there is something that I really want to point out, and that during this part of the section in the manga, there is a scene of dialogue of an individual's hand appearing, and how this scene is very important for what's to come, not only within the season potentially, but for the rest of the series, and how the anime pretty much cuts this scene entirely from the manga. And while the anime has added scenes that it's cut from the manga later on, I am not sure if this is going to be a scene that is going to be added in the next episode or be added when it comes up later on in the series itself. But with that, let's tackle the return of Tomura. because it's here with the return of Tomura as we see his new form, which was spoiled by the anime opening. And it's this sequence which is done very differently and very uniquely, because there is a negative color shift that will most likely emphasize the transformation and how gruesome and terrifying it is, and showing the horror that is Tomura coming out of that shell. And when it comes to this artistic choice, this could be a way of really just depicting how terrifying this moment is, or it could be a way to censor how gory the scene could actually become without the negative color shift. But along with that, there is something interesting about the added cocoon imagery as Tomura is bursting through his body, as I am pretty sure this is confirmation of the scene that we got being a direct parallel to a scene that we got from the second opening of season 6 with similar framing as well as a similar face structure of the man appearing from the ground. And while they aren't exactly the same, this could have been foreshadowing from the opening of season 6 tying into what we got in season 7. As well as just general association with Shigaraki coming out of a cocoon, as we saw when he was explained to what the doctor was going to do with his body and that he was going to be modified and changed, with the imagery being him actually coming out of a cocoon, aka he has been reborn. But from there, we also get to see the explosion created by Tomura in all of its glory as we focus on the damage inside of UA, as we cut over to Skeptic, who was the main culprit for all of the hacking and interference in UA seen in this and previous episodes. But with the return of Skeptic, we also get the return of La Brava and later on Gentle Criminal. And something interesting that I want to point out is what appears on the screen when La Brava begins to hack Skeptic. At a point of note, the optic kitty that we see doing the pump on the screen where Skeptic is being hacked by La Brava was actually first seen in volume 19 of My Hero Academia on the hideous clothing Aizawa got Eri because he likes cats, and that this was something that was cut from the manga proper. And it was in that volume that we were introduced to Gentle and La Brava, as well as this would tie into the anime during episode 18 of season 4. But something else that is interesting about this is that this was actually foreshadowed a little bit later past their introductions, where we learned that Skeptic was hacked, and that this was foreshadowed in both the manga and the anime from chapter 230 in the manga and episode 22 of season 5 of the anime, where Skeptic brings up his one failure, and that one failure was done by La Brava when she hacked his company. But as that is happening, we get to see that UA is still falling, and La Brava at this moment cannot stop it in time, and Deku and Tomura are unable to move at this moment, and that the heroes and the pilots are preparing to fight while we get the appearance of Gentle Criminal. And as this is happening, Skeptic is trying to run away, but is luckily captured by Hound Dog, as this all ties into the characters that were involved with Gentle Criminal during the cultural festival. And it gives the heroes a chance to save UA with the help of an OG villain via Gentle. And it's from here where we cut over to a flashback of one of the prisons being destroyed by All For One and Muscular. And as we see the villains trying to escape, they are unfortunately stopped by Gentle Criminal. And while we get a little bit more detail of certain events that happen in the prison, from the prison guards being attacked to getting a better detailed view of the location itself, what is even more interesting is that this scene and this event was actually foreshadowed a long time ago in chapter 298 of the manga and episode 15 of season 6, where it's revealed that 7 prisons were attacked by All For One and that 6 of them had prisoners be freed, which implied that prisoners were not freed from the 7th prison, which so happened to be the prison that Gentle Criminal was in. And because of the events with his involvement with Deku and his realization of what he wants to do, he alone was able to stop all of these villains from being escaped, which leads to the gorilla cop asking him what he wants, where we get an anime original scene of Gentle Criminal reuniting with La Brava. And this is where the episode begins to wind down with the cool animation sequence of Gentle bursting from the water to create a giant trampoline that is able to catch the falling UA in his new super lover mode. And as he is holding UA in place, we get the realization that Deku recognizes this trampoline-like safety net as he begins to cry, but unfortunately, it seems as if he does not have enough time because Tomura Shigaraki is beginning to react. The music swells in this scene in the same vein of Gentle Criminal being a hero with the same musical note as All Might telling Deku that he can be a hero. A pink and blue bullet ravages Tomura's hand before he's able to reach and touch the ground, once again revealing that Lady Nagin is here to help save the day, as we also get a moment of All Might foreshadowed to take action, which if you've watched the opening, you already know what's probably going to happen. But yeah, that's pretty much my episode breakdown and review for My Hero Academia. While this isn't one of the better episodes for the season, it's still a very solid episode in an amazing season of My Hero Academia, where we get a large focus on more of the minor side characters getting their big moments and really just showing how great the characterization of characters in My Hero Academia actually is. And we get a lot of cool action sequences that are not just allocated to the heroes, but also to the lower side characters and even some of the villains. Overall, really solid episode and enjoyed it heavily. So let me ask you, what did you like about the episode? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And do you like that La Brava and Gentle Criminal returned? Leave your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!